Joining me right now in studio is someone who knows what that's all about. Donna Chapman, you're from Suffield. You lost your son fighting overseas back in January. What are you now doing to honor his life?
So I am trying to heighten awareness and rally support to improve 22 suicides a day. I'm doing an awareness event today, as a matter of fact, in Suffield, Connecticut at the high school. And the point is to me, I find it unacceptable to 22 men and women taking their lives every day because of their emotional suffering that they're suffering with internally. And it's my wish to make sure our veterans know that there's communities of people that truly care about them and their well-being, and that they want to do something, they want to do more to help.
I'd like to ask you, who was William Davidson?
So it was my son, my precious son. He was 24 years old, and he loved life, and he loved people, and loved nature's beauty. He's a very peaceful soul, and I miss him dearly. And that's what sparked my new passion in life. I didn't do enough to help him. If I had more skills, if I had suicide awareness or prevention training under my belt, I think I would have been better equipped to maybe handle the situation, or maybe see if I what signs I missed, so that I could have done something.
And your strength is absolutely incredible, and I know this is a sensitive topic to talk about, and you have been outspoken regarding this topic. Now, you've started a nonprofit organization called Willpower. What is the mission behind that nonprofit? So
the mission is to create an environment to foster healing for our veterans and first responders. As an example, so it's a home-like retreat center designed for vacation retreat, healing. So if a group of 10 women from California wanted to come to Connecticut who have new limbs, they have new prosthetics. So come to Connecticut, hike and bike and bond and get a makeover, a facial, have a yoga instructor come in and teach them how to use their new parts. I think we could do a much better part in our country to help heal our physically and our emotionally wounded veterans.
Now, you talk about the emotional wounds. Many people at home think about those physical wounds. We see pictures all the time. But give some insight into what those emotional wounds are for people who don't know.
Sure. So most of it is a lot of focus is put on the physical wounds, but the emotional wounds are the fact that, my son was in the Kandahar region in Afghanistan for a year, and he was about 20 years old. And he had experienced, obviously, very difficult circumstances, and he was in war. And what he was exposed to and what he saw traumatized him emotionally. And what happens is you start losing sleep, and then you have bad dreams, and then it snowballs. And what it is he felt isolated and alone with his pain and suffering, like no one understood, because they didn't endure or suffer what he did. So he had felt alone and isolated in that. And that's why my focus is on our emotionally wounded, so that we can learn from this, that my son's death is not for nothing, that we're going to learn something, we're going to do more. Force changes. That's really what my goal is. I really think that, when you have 22 veterans every day doing this, that's been going on for a long time. Enough of that. We should not allow that. And that means we've got to say what we have been doing isn't working. So that means the fact that I really think that we ought to really look at our policies and what we're doing, and implement change and have mandates in place to hold them accountable. Meaning that I made a comment to the VA at one time and said that I think where you miss is that you have zero communication with family. If you at least told me that my son was suffering or struggling, I could have at least raised him a little bit differently, or helped, or at least been equipped. Instead, I didn't know, but they knew. And I think that needs to change. I would really love to see a council put together What I tried to do this summer is to put a meeting together which would include a representative of the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the National Guard, Coast Guard, the VA, so that we can have a roundtable discussion to talk about best practices and a case study. Best practices because some branches do it better than others, and a case study because we have one as fresh as this year that I'd like to talk about and say, if we're honest about it, we can look at where we've missed, because I can see some gaps.
Now, lastly, if people are watching at home and they hear the number 22 veteran suicides every single day, what can they do? What is one small thing someone watching at home right now can do to decrease that number?
Well, I say, when you see a veteran and you have an opportunity, thank a veteran, and do more than just thank a veteran. Buy their coffee, buy their lunch. Just show them that you care and you appreciate their sacrifice. They sacrifice their freedoms for ours, and it's to do more about it. Donate, because a lot of the nonprofit organizations, they actually make a difference in our veterans, especially transitioning from military life to back home. So just show your veterans that you truly care and appreciate them, because I've met a few friends who've been great to me since I call my new friends, but they're Vietnam vets, and Ted Perry and Jim McKee is an example, who have contacted me since my son passed, and they said, Donna, you're family now. And so they truly care about all of us. We need to show that back. So donate to great funds, help us build a retreat center. It's the least we can do, to give them a place that's like a home, so that they can heal and bond, and we need to do more of that.
Well, there is nothing stronger than a mother's love, and you're now using that strength to help others, and definitely an appropriate message on this Veterans Day. So thank you for being with us, Donna.
Ben, thank you for having me.
All right, now we're going to make a dramatic turn right now and get a check of your forecast.